All right, welcome everybody. This is Crystal Jackson with Love Your Body series, How to Fall in Love with Taking Care of Yourself, Mind, Body, and Spirit. And today I have special guest Carly Gross, and she is actually a mind and body nutritionist. So welcome, Carly. I'm so happy to have you here with us today, and would love for you just to dive right in and share your story of how you became a coach.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me. It's a gift to be here and to be sharing with all of you. So I'm super excited to be here. And so my story, how I got into this role, it's a long time, but it's, ever since childhood, my main thing was that I never felt like I was enough. And I think that that's where a lot of the food addictions or fears or craze comes from, is like this feeling of I need to be better, I need to look better, I need to change who I am in some way, I need to control. And so growing up, I had that a lot. And then when I was in college, I went off birth control and my health got crazy. Like my hair, like all my hair fell out. And yeah, my hair fell out like in clumps. I would shower and be washing my hair and I'd have like clumps and I'd be so freaked out and I couldn't digest any of my food. And so I had to go on a huge healing journey. And so from that place, I learned everything that I could about holistic nutrition, and I studied nutrition, and I got really clear on the body vessel and understanding how to cleanse the body and revamp the body. And my journey took me there. But over time in that role, it got a little too much, a little too crazy. And I didn't really pay enough focus to my mental health and to my emotional well-being and to my soul and what my soul needed and how I could support my emotional self and all of that good stuff. So I ended up like not wanting to even really work nutrition anymore. Even though I became a holistic nutritionist, I would have clients and they would tell me all of their things, and I have anxiety and this and that, and I just wanted to get to the soul stuff. I just wanted to be like, let's look at your life, right? It's not all about food. So now at this point, in the way that I help women, it's so broad that food is just a piece of the puzzle that we work on.
That's incredible. Well, I love that you're working on the soul stuff, because I truly believe in, actually from personal experience, once I shifted and really started to look deep within me and stopped obsessing over what I was eating and training, and it was like everything was like quote unquote perfect, training all the time, eating perfectly, but nothing ever happening with my body. So switching gears, I can totally relate and understand that really, really supports you. What can you share with the audience here of like, what would be one of the first steps that you would do with someone? I know everyone's situation's a little different, but diving into the emotional part, like what's maybe something you could share with us, an experience, or how you go about it with your program?
Yeah. So this is just a really general idea and something that I just thought of when you were just speaking of your own experience. And it's that when we're in a space of wanting, like I want my body to look better, I want the abs, I want this, I want to lose weight, and we're just like wanting all of the time. I want my thighs to be littler, or I want a thigh gap, or I want whatever it is that we have in our heads that is ideal. We're in a place of lack. And so we're putting out there to the universe, like, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I need to change. And so what happens is that we get stuck there. And so many people are stuck there. How many people do you know? And if you're watching this, you might be in this place, or you might know a zillion people who want to lose weight or who want to change. And that, it does have to do with, okay, what does their lifestyle look like and what actions are they taking? But it also has to do with constantly being in a place of want rather than a place of gratitude for what you already have. And from that place, making inspired action. So that's just something that I would throw out there, because that really applies to anyone, whether you want a better body or more health, or to fix your digestion, or to heal your acne, whatever it is that you're kind of after, I would encourage you to be in a place of gratitude for what you already have, and from that place, move forward, instead of always feeling like you're lacking or like something's missing, because then you create more of that.
Awesome. Well, I love that story, Carly. I mean, I can totally relate with you. I've shared this in a couple other interviews, but I've definitely my entire life had that conversation of not enough or not good enough. And it's truly incredible once you can heal from it, or at least the process of healing from it, and really feel like you are enough. Because I mean, if you feel like you aren't good enough with your body, it's in every single thing. Like how we do one thing is how we do everything. So, I mean, do you believe in that as well? Like, do you see it in all different areas of people's lives? Yeah.
Yeah, it shows up. If the body's not good enough, then the work's not good enough, and then the friendships aren't good enough, and then the communication's not good enough, and we just it passes on into everything. And like I say with all my clients, it's like the food issue that's showing up, that's just the total surface level of everything else that's happening in the body, and in like on a nervous system level and on an energetic level. There's so many other things that are actually out of alignment and that feel not enough in your life to look at. And a lot of times when we can work at it from that angle, the food stuff starts healing itself up.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I actually, I want to go back to you being on birth control and your hair falling out. Like, so random. I mean, I went on birth control for a few months, and then I was like, I'm done with this. I remember I'm standing with my husband in the middle of this place called Jimbo. It's like a natural health food store in San Diego. And I'm in the middle of the aisle and I just start bawling. And he's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I don't know. And it's everyone's opinion whether you want to go on birth control or not. So I'm not saying, you should or shouldn't do it. But for me and my body, I couldn't handle it. It wasn't something that was beneficial. It actually just caused me to be so emotional. So what did you do? I mean, your hair's falling out. I just kind of want to hear more about the story. Like, what did you do? Because was it hormonal? What was the process of healing from that? And obviously your hair grew back because you have beautiful hair.
Yeah, thank you. So I went on a journey of all sorts, and this is kind of actually this process for the next 2 years after this specific moment in time when my hair was falling out and all of that, was when I tried basically every diet under the sun. Because what would happen is I would go to, let's say, a naturopath, or I would go to a chiropractor, or I'd go to an Ayurvedic doctor, and they would all tell me something different. And so I would experiment in one area, and then I would go to another place and they would be like, oh, but raw foods. And then this person would be like, oh no, you have no raw food. You have to eat only cooked food and paleo. And so it was so all over the place. And so really I took matters into my own hands and just started to piece together what really felt like it was actually serving me. So I did a lot of cleansing work. I did a lot of parasite and yeast cleanses to remove anything, because something that happens with birth control, especially I was on it for 5 years. So something that happens is that it can start depleting the stomach acid. And so we can start losing some of our probiotics. And so that's kind of what happened with me. So then my stomach was like an open space for bacteria. So I did a lot of cleansing work to release that. And then there came a time when I just was like, okay, I need balance now. And that's really when I started to let go of diets in full. I really just started letting go of all of that, what I learned. And I said, okay, now I'm at a place where I really just want to listen to my body. And I started letting go of all of what everyone has told me. And I started to figure it out myself. But I did do a lot of cleansing work to release any of the stuff that the birth control put into my body.
Yeah. Did what kind of cleanses did you do? I'm just curious. I've done a bunch myself, but I'm, always willing to learn something new too.
Yeah, so I did, oh man, all sorts of ones. I think one of the best cleanses I did was I went to a retreat, uh, and I was liquid fasting for a week, and every day I had a colonic. And so I was like really brushing out my colon, and I had like tar, like black tar come out, and I wasn't eating anything. So yeah, so our
Great.
bodies can take on so much, so that just felt so good to release all that. But I definitely recommend for anyone who's going to do an intense cleanse to do it in that type of a setting. I wasn't doing anything all week. I was literally laying down and just relaxing. But I also did like other like parasite cleanses at home, and took just parasite cleansing herbs. And that was effective and helpful as well. And then I tried doing candida cleansing with like no sugar and all of that, but I think the most effective was just like a deep colon cleansing. And yeah.
I haven't ever done a colonic.
Like coming back, I'm trying to remember it all. And I'm like, oh yeah, and then there was that one. Oh yeah, there was that one.
Yeah, but the good thing is, and for everyone out there, like, please get like have someone prescribe it to you. Don't just go out and do it on your own. Like it is, it can be very hard on your body, and you just want to have support while you do it. So, yeah, but I was just, I'm always curious what people do for detoxes and cleansing. And I did one time, the Gerson therapy. So it was like 40 days of no fats, no meats, all vegetables and fruits, and coffee enemas. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was crazy. My husband and I did it together. It was maybe the funniest experience ever doing it together. But he's my man for life, so it's like whatever. But that was interesting, the stuff that would come out. I mean, it's just so beautiful though how much our body does for us. So I love that you talked about gratitude, because our body does do so much from us. And I know some people get tied up with, they can't even think of anything positive to say about themselves. And it's like, just be grateful that my body works, that I'm alive, that I am breathing, that my body just knows automatically how to breathe, and that I can shut down and go to sleep and heal my body. And it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. I think that we're, as a society or culture, really disembodied. So we're so out of our bodies. Even if we do maybe do yoga, or even if we do go to the gym, a lot of us don't have body awareness. And I say that from a place of, like years ago, I would be going to yoga classes and this and that, but I didn't really have like this connection with my body where I was aware energetically, physically, mentally of the space that I was taking up. And I wasn't moving in functional ways where I could cultivate that gratitude for my body. So I think that it is very important for people to understand the connection between mind and body. And if you want to love your body more, and love yourself more, there are people who say only focus on the body, get the body of your dreams, and then the other who are like just focus on the mind, just focus that. But it's really both, like not focus on the bodies and shape it, but embody it and move it and express it and dance with it and be in your body, right? And there are so many tools and practices that you can do. I was actually on my webinar yesterday. I was just sharing with, I did a self-care webinar, and I was sharing that you can take your feet and put the webs of your fingers in your toes, and then like move them around, and then hit the bottom of your feet to just like open up. And there's just so many things like that we can do to become more in our bodies. And it doesn't mean we have to strap on sneakers and go for a 10-mile run. It just means that we need to be in our bodies, and that just takes presence, and it takes mindfulness, and it takes an intention to do that, right?
I mean, do you feel like people are just more out of their bodies because our society is just high strung. I mean, that's how I feel like we're on the go nonstop. I love my phone. I mean, I love the computer, I love my phone, but everything's at the fingertips. And then we don't have like the gratification of our own bodies because it's not an instant like the phone is. I mean, that's kind of how I see it playing out right now. And I love that you're talking about like just getting in with your body, because body awareness is everything. I know even when I talk to women about their menstrual cycles, and women not being aware even when they ovulate, like learning that, like there's so much our body is telling us, finding out all these little pieces that really support us and truly loving ourselves. So what are some tips that you can share with the women that if they totally feel out of body or just, not feeling themselves, what are some tips that they can do?
So I think that the number one thing, where can we start? It's first thing in the morning before you even get out of bed, placing your hands on your body and just kind of like, hello, good morning, hi. Even just placing a hand on your heart and breathing, or a hand on your belly, or maybe the part of your body that you're judging, or the part of your body that you don't feel good in right now, and bringing some awareness to that space and just maybe sending that area love. And then there are so many tools that I teach, but there's like even just tapping and getting energy moving. Really, that's what we want. We want the energy in the body system to be moving, and everyone obviously loves to do this in a different way, but there's that. And for me, it's about stillness too. Like you said, it's such a fast-paced society and world, and we love our phones, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if we really want to love ourselves, and we really like, our intention right now, we are working on it. If you're here, you're listening to this, you clearly signed up for a reason. You want to love your body more, right? Like you want to feel better in your body. And that's gonna, not only is this thing like your energy is going to it, so it's going out there, it's not in here, but you're likely on social media, you're likely seeing photos of other women. And so the more we look outside of ourselves, the less we feel good inside of ourselves. So the other day, actually, I just did an Instagram, like total, just like defollowed so many people, and it was really from my heart. It was from love for myself. Not that I don't like these people, but that my energy was going towards them. And I want to be in my own creations. I want to be putting out there into the world my creativity, and I don't want it to be influenced by looking at someone else that I think has, like, we make a lot of assumptions around another person's life and what they do in business and how they are in their world and all of that. And so that's a really good idea for anyone's listening, to be really aware of your social media and what's coming in to you, and where your energy is leaving your body, because we want that body awareness. We want to become more in tune with ourselves, because if we are in tune with ourselves, we start loving ourselves. We start, like, if we're aware of our cycle, our menstrual cycle, if we're aware of the fluctuations, if we're aware of where our body, when we tend to get stressed or when we tend to have anxiety and all these things, and we're aware of it, then we don't need to judge ourselves when these things happen, because we expect it. It's like we're creating it. I always say it's okay. It's okay wherever you are. It's okay.
Love that.
And so much of it is looking at where we are and saying, oh, but it's not good enough. Oh, but I'm tired today. That's not good. And we just judge everything. We don't just let it be. Own it. Yeah.
It is. Own it where you are. And that's something, I have 3 things I could share with you. Owning it. I was talking to a girlfriend the other day, and she's has this goal to hit for her birthday, and she was 15 pounds away. And I was like, hey babe, like, be so proud of what you have accomplished in this last month. I'm so proud of you. It's like one of my girlfriends. And I'm like, and you still have 2 weeks. I'm like, let's see how far you can do. Yeah, I can tell you every trick in the book to make the 15 pounds happen, but it's not going to be in a healthy way. So let's just focus on like whatever happens and own it. I'm like, look at, these, I was talking about some like celebrities that really just, they don't have the perfect body, but they just own up to it. And it's like, it's beautiful. It doesn't mean that you have to have this perfect twig body or super, super lean, ripped body to not really own it and love who you are. It's just like being aware, being in your body, like you're talking about, and just being happy. Because then we show more happiness to the other people around us, and it like creates this beautiful world. The other thing I wanted to acknowledge was how you take a day or two. I don't know, you can actually tell me, but when you start your period, I love that. I acknowledge you for that. And you inspired me because we got it on the same day. And I told my husband about you. I was like, oh my gosh, this girl Carly is amazing. Like, she just takes the day off. And he's like, you could do that too. And I'm like, oh, right. And I still worked, but I stayed home and I listened to my body. And that night I went and took a bath. And I actually took a bath 3 nights in a row because I was just like, oh my gosh, my body is just tired and just needs to heal. So thank you for that gift, because that really was a gift. Appreciate it.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Yeah.
Such an honor and a pleasure that I was able to do that. So for anyone who's listening, we actually had this interview scheduled for a day last week, but I emailed Crystal and I said, hey, is there any way we could switch it up? Because I just started bleeding. And I really, for 1 or 2 days, I just totally like to be in myself, be in my own energy and release. When we're bleeding, it's the time to let go. It's the time to detoxify. It's the time to just let go, really, of anything that is in our way, that's holding us back. And even if it's not known, even if you don't even know what's holding you back, you can still be in that place of release by resting. And this is what women used to do back in the day. They used to go and be together and just rest and lay and bleed together, and it would be that's what the time is for. And so I find that if I don't rest, then the rest of the month my energy could be off, or I could be tired during ovulation time, which is really the time of high energy. And so I find it really helpful for women to take some time, or as much time as they can, during bleeding time, during menstruation, to rest, to let go, to relax, to take a bath, all of that good stuff. And really just allow the body and be present with the body as all of that's moving through. It's also a time when we are highly intuitive, and projects can be birthed in that time. And so taking some time to just sit in our own energy can be really healing. But I do find that, we can have a lot of resistance to that as well, because there's also some shame in our culture around blood. Just the way that our menstrual cycle has been marketed with like tampons and all these things, and we're like, just take an Midol, take an Advil, and just take a birth control, and it's all like distractions to actually, okay, this is painful and I have blood coming out of my body, it's not fun. And so if we sit in that, it's like, oh, okay, I have to let everything else go and be in this and experience it. And I find that, my cycles used to be all over the place. And now that I really honor that, I get my cycle every day. Like, I can predict it same day, right before the full moon, and last like 2 days. Yeah.
I was going to bring that up, like how ironic you and I were both in the same cycle, but also with the full moon, which I love the full moons. Like, I couldn't even sleep that night. It was so bright because my house has these windows. And the moon it was like 12:30 at night, and the moon is just like shining brightly in my bedroom. It was beautiful. So.
Oh, that's so
Oh,
beautiful.
I love it. It's just so cool. Well, we're in the woods in Montana right now because my family travels back and forth between San Diego and Montana. So we're getting a new perspective on nature out here. And I have to share with you, like being in the nature, I mean, literally in the woods. Like it took us 10 days to get internet to our little cabin here that we're renting. And I was like, what, 10 days? Wait, did you mean like one day, or is it really going to be 10 days? But it's super cute. And but being in the nature has really supported my boys and my husband and I really just to get more aligned with what we want to create with ourselves, with our family, and our vision for the world. So it's been a beautiful experience to have a little bit more quiet time, like you're talking about. Like there's not very many people around us. We're on 13 acres. It's pretty amazing.
Wow, that
Yeah.
is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Pretty cool.
we are nature. We are a part of nature. So I can imagine being in that environment. You can feel yourself more. You can feel who you are and what you want to bring forth into the world and who you want to be. Because we're creating things, but we're creating ourselves. And so getting into a place where we're like so surrounded by abundant, alive nature, we feel there's a homey feeling because we're a part of that.
Yeah. Like even right now, I'm outside looking at the beautiful trees around me, and it's raining, and I love the rain. So it's been that's definitely a big shift from San Diego, which, sporadically you would get rain, and we get rain here a couple times a week right now because it's just fall, but it's incredible. And I had a third question and I totally lost it. That's okay. It's okay.
It is.
Well, I'd love for you actually to go in a little bit more of, the binge eating, because I know that's something that you're an expert in as well. Is like, what are these people? How do they stop from binge eating? Like I've never been a person that has just binge eat or ate, I guess you want to say. But I have clients that experience that a lot, and I'm working with them to support them. But I'd love to get some insight from you and support other people, because I think it's a big thing. We gravitate towards food when we're upset, we're sad, moody, whatever it is. But how do we break that cycle of binge eating? And I know now you just kind of eat. There's no set schedule. You just kind of eat whenever you want to eat and you feel better.
Mm-hmm. So there's a difference between binge eating and emotional eating. But binge eating, for example, is a direct response to a diet mentality. So it's not a direct response to a diet, but a diet mentality is the mentality of, if I don't stick to this, then I suck, then I'm worthless, then I'm going to gain weight, then like all the mental stuff that usually comes with going on a diet. So when that is really prevalent for a person, if they're setting out, whether it's to be a vegetarian or a vegan or going on a Whole30 or whatever it is, even if it's really healthy, if they have diet mentality and in their mind they're telling themselves that they have to do this or else, and they're really like just trying with everything to control themselves, and it's not fun and all that stuff, that's the easiest trigger to go into a binge, because you're telling the inner child in you and the young one inside that no, you can't have that. And what is any child who is told no? They're like, no, I need it now. And so so for anyone who's listening, if you're experiencing binge eating, I want you to ask yourself and notice how many times you've set out to go on to the next plan, and if it was out of inspiration or desperation. Because if it's out of desperation, like I just need to do this, I need to lose weight, I need to, and it's coming from a place of fear of not being loved, fear of not being worthy, fear of dying, fear of whatever, that is going to cause in your brain and in your nervous system stress around not being good enough, not doing it good enough, not following perfect enough. And what does stress do in our nervous system? It makes us agitated, and the food is right there. So yeah, making that connection between diet mentality and binge eating is the number one thing. And so for all of my clients, because most of my clients really have that diet mentality ingrained, or for years they've been restricting, or maybe they've had eating disorders, and we really just need to let it go and say, I can eat whatever I want, any food. And even though I believe in whole foods and real foods and organic foods and all of that good stuff and herbs and everything, it's like, no, eat whatever you want, because we really have to break that notion in the brain that says, I can't have this, so then I want 10 bags of it.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And it's true. I mean, the more, like, whatever it is that, let's say like a piece of chocolate, I know personally, like, I can't stop thinking about it until I just have it, or just have a, little like handful of chocolate, whatever it is, versus obsessing over it, and then having a whole bar and then feeling guilty about it. And that is where I see the big thing is, have a little piece. Who cares? Like, a little piece of chocolate or 2 scoops of ice cream is not going to hurt you as much as the guilt and the shame and all the anger or whatever it is that you put on yourself for having that. Because that is like the most vicious cycle ever, where we restrict, we binge eat, we have a whole pint of ice cream or a carton or a gallon, whatever it is. And then you go into self beat up mode. And that is when things get really bad, and it's not worth it at all. It's like, have a little bit and move on.
Exactly. That's the thing. Like we put way too much, and this is where I start working with people around, okay, what is going on in your life to the point where you are so obsessed with having 2 bites of chocolate?
Yeah.
Like really, because I know that when I was in that place, all I was thinking about was food. That was my life. It was literally my life, and I had no bigger purpose that I was working toward. I wasn't creating. I wasn't like using any creativity. I wasn't expressing myself. I didn't have a big social life at all. And so when we look at that, we can say, oh, okay, we can look at those pieces as well and see that it's not all the food. But yeah, I love what you said around having just a bite. And it's really important for people because, like you said, having that is way better than like shoving food down your mouth and being like totally numbing away, and then feeling guilty about it the next morning. And not only feeling guilty, but having the physical repercussions of being bloated and feeling heavy and all that stuff, which is real. And so I wrote, and anyone who's watching this can go get it on my website. I call it the Post-Binge Survival Guide. And it's for anyone who is experiencing that, where they wake up in the morning and they're just like, oh, why did I do that type of a feeling? Because I find that healing, that everything around binge eating really starts there in that place, rather than working at other angles. We have to start with the fact that you're experiencing it right now. And so the first thing that we can do is not judge it and not restrict the next day. And there are so many other things that we can do, but like being easy with the digestive system and drinking water and going for a walk and all these things, which a lot of people know, but a lot of the stuff is mental and in your mind around not restricting the next day and not judging yourself and telling yourself that it's okay and that you're human and that it happens. So if anyone's listening and you're experiencing that, go get that on my website. It's under the free stuff tab.
Thank you for that. Another thing you talked about was when your life really changed, was that you had more balance. And I think that's a huge component for everybody to hear. Like, it's the balance of movement, it's the balance of nutrition, it's a balance of every single little piece in your life. Like, what do you have to say about that? Because obviously that made a difference for you and how that can support others. Because I feel like when we get so obsessive, like I was sharing earlier, I was so obsessed with my training, so obsessed with my nutrition. But my missing link was very similar to yours, of not really being social. I couldn't even go out. I didn't go out very much because I wasn't going to drink and I wasn't going to eat any food out, out in public. What do I want to say? I didn't want to eat a food at a restaurant, and so I kind of secluded myself. So how can people step into more balance if they're going through something very similar?
Yeah, so I always tell people to get clear on what they want their own balance to look like, because there's no just like balance for every human, because your balance is going to look way different than my balance, just because we have different desires. And so it really takes first taking a look at what do you really desire in your life? Like, do you desire to have a really awesome group of friends and to be able to go out and have a glass of wine, or to be able to go out and enjoy dinner? Or do you desire to live in Thailand? And right, like what is it that you want, right? Because from that place, then you can see, okay, where am I not in alignment, and where do I need to bring a little more balance into my life? But yeah, I mean, I think that it's important for people to just also take a look at, like, if you just made a mental map and put all the important things in life. So I would say health, I would say nutrition and food, I would say fitness, but then there's also family and friends and sexuality and partnerships and nature and connection to self and spirituality, all of these other elements. And you say, okay, where, if this is 10 and this is 0, am I here on spirituality? Am I here with my sensuality? Am I totally just afraid to move my body and to express my body and to be sensual, right? And then we can say, okay, that's where more balance needs to take, and we need to compromise, because if exercise is up here, we need to say, okay, I need to tone it down a little and move over to another part of my life that needs a little more love.
So maybe your exercise could be like pole dancing or belly dancing to bring out the creative and sexual part of your beingness, because that's true for everyone. Like, we all have that inside of us, and when we're scared to bring it out, it's like, really look at that. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. We are sexual beings. I mean, that is just our nature. So embrace it and love it.
Yeah, and it works both ways, because the more we can express our sexuality, the more we fall in love with our bodies too. The more pleasure that we can feel in our bodies, the more pleasure we'll feel with our bodies. So working at that angle of sensuality and sexuality, and seeing how we can be more expressed in our bodies sensually, whether it's just like swaying your hips to a yummy song, or going to a pole dancing class, right? When we do that, we start slowly healing these cords that are the judgment cords of I'm not good enough, because we feel that, oh, my body is awesome. I'm a woman and I get to move like this, and I get to experience this movement of energy, this sensuality, this sexuality that is moving through me, which is so beautiful. And so I find that when we can work at it at that angle as well, especially for women who have been on this kind of love your body direction for a while, I find that the final missing link is the sensuality and sexuality piece. Really cool.
That's amazing. Well, thank you for sharing that. And Carly, I'm just so grateful for this time that we had together, and so much good knowledge you gave everyone. So I just have, 3 last questions that I've been asking everyone. So I'm so excited to hear what you say as well. So what would you say your superhuman power is that you would never sell to the world? So it's something that is so valuable about you and Carly that you would never want to share with anyone in the world. You never sell it. This is such a good one. Everyone does that. Like, I don't know.
It's such a hard one, but I have 2 answers, because one of them is and I just wanted to bring this up for people. One of them is my quote unquote weakness. I don't think it's a weakness, but I've been called all of my life too sensitive. Like, you're just too sensitive. You're too sensitive. You're too sensitive. And I was so fearful of it for so long. And And I was like, what's wrong with me? Why am I so
Yeah.
sensitive? But now I think that it's such a gift because I'm able to be sensitive with my clients, and I'm able to hold space, and I'm able to tap into my intuition, and I'm able to do healing work on myself. I'm able to feel the energy of food and the energy of people and know what is in alignment with me and what's not. And so my intuition is very strong. And so I would say that that is definitely a superhuman power. And then the other one is just my natural ease with food and in the kitchen, creating really delicious, healthful tonics and smoothies, and just
Love it.
yeah, just being, it's so easy for me. You know, sometimes I make things and people are like, oh my gosh, how did you do that in 2 minutes? And I'm like, it's just part of me. I don't know.
I
So
love
that's one too. Yeah.
Well, I have to share real quick that I feel like I'm a very sensitive person as well. Like I feel people really easily, whether they're happy, whether they're sad, whatever it is. And even if I hear about something, I like feel for the person. And I've always been a crier. And for the years, I would just be like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm crying. And through going through some personal development work, now I'm like, I'm really proud of that. Like you know, it's something that is me, and I know supports me in my every single day of showing up, being the person that I am. So I really embrace it, and I love that you embrace it too. And anyone else who's a crier or sensitive or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Like it is part of you and who you are. So embrace it and love it. And you know, like we said earlier, like own up to it. So it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Look at what you think is your weakness and see if you can see that as a gift.
I love that. So what would you give people today? Like what is the number one takeaway that they could start working on today from all the beautiful information you gave us? But what would you say is like the one thing? Because I really like to have people focus on one thing at a time to then make small little gains for big gains over a long period of time. So what would you say that one thing is?
I would say the one thing is create some sort of embodiment practice first thing in the morning, whether it's touching your body in the morning, or maybe you shower and then put coconut oil over your body, or you do a 30-minute yoga flow, or you go to a yoga class, or you, and I don't mean just going to work out as embodiment. I mean like really becoming aware of your body. And so that might just mean breath work. I'm a big fan of breath work and different practices. Something that everyone can try is breathing in for a count of 5 breaths, and then holding it at the top for a count of 5, and then exhaling for 5. It's just like a really simple breath practice, and you can do like 10 rounds of that, but you're just becoming more sensitive to your own body, just more aware of your body and your emotions and your feelings and everything, and you're just bringing presence first thing in the morning. And so that is, you know, that really is the biggest thing that I can share.
Love that. And I think it really supports you in dropping into your true authentic self. Like I hadn't ever put like my hand over my heart and just close my eyes and breathe. I think that's how you say it. But that was something that was very, like, it was beautiful. I mean, I was crying through the process of just touching my body and focusing in on my breath and clearing my mind, and just tears running down my face. So I love that you shared that. And then my last question is, what do you feel like has been the best thing that you've ever committed to in your life that's made the biggest impact? That's a big one.
Spiritual practice. So my, I go through every morning a process of embodiment, like I say, but I do a lot of tapping and breath work and prayer and movement, and just different like physical and energetic detoxification practices, and being in a place of meditation and stillness with myself, and really committing to that has been total transformation in my life. So I would say that, and definitely a yoga practice as well.
I do a yoga practice in my morning routine too. It's yoga, and then I have a little ball. It's called an alpha ball, and I use it for like self-myofascial release. Her name's Jill Miller, who designed it. It's amazing. And then
That's so funny because I use one of those too, but not that particular one.
you use the smaller one.
I use a Yamuna ball.
What is it?
You know?
Which
Yamuna?
one?
It's called Yamuna.
Okay. I don't know.
Similar though, I think it's
I'll look it up. I am obsessed with it. My friends like make fun of me because I talk about it all the time. But and I'll carry it in my bag. My mother-in-law paid for my boys and I to go to Disneyland right before we decided to come up here for a few months. And they're checking my bag and they're like, why do you have this ball thing? Like, you can't take any balls into Disneyland. I'm like, no, it's not for that. I actually use it to like massage my muscles because we're going to be standing in line and I'll just, massage my muscles. And my mother-in-law is just like, oh my God, you brought a ball to Disneyland? I'm like,
that's so funny.
I keep it with me all the time, literally in my purse right now. But I love my morning practice. And if anyone doesn't have a morning practice, create one, whatever works for you. It is the best gift you can give yourself. And you might have to get up like 10 minutes earlier, but it is so worth it to have that 10 minutes of quiet time. Like, I have 2 kids and I cherish that time that it's quiet in my house and it's just me and my thoughts and my body. And I do my meditation and I have my little mala necklace and I do my, go through each bead and have my own mantra for the day. And it is the best time ever. So it's amazing. But Carly, I would love for you to share your free gift that you have for everyone and then share with them also where they can find out more information about you.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find everything at carlymorgangross.com. And then I'm Carly Morgan Gross on Instagram and basically Facebook and all that stuff. And my free gift that I have for you today is my ebook, which is called Already Healed. And I wrote this book from a place of feeling like I wasn't whole. I wrote it from healing that because I was for so long feeling like I wasn't good enough. I needed to fix myself and that nothing was working. And so I wrote this book called Already Healed, which is, it takes you through 12 steps to really feel full in yourself. Everything from being in your own energy to becoming your own healer, seeing how you can use your hands to heal yourself and creating the right mindset to feel whole, to feel alive, to feel fully yourself. So I would love to gift that to everyone today.
Thank you so much. That sounds incredible. And I just want to take a minute here to acknowledge you, Carly, that you are living your life purpose and you are supporting women all over the world and being just truly loving themselves and being in their bodies. So thank you for your gifts to the world and that you are living on purpose. It's so beautiful. And I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's so authentic. It's so real. Like it's very easy to see how passionate you are, yet passionate and compassionate and driven. It's absolutely beautiful. So thank you. And thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for acknowledging all of that. And it's my absolute pleasure to share all this with everyone watching.
Awesome. Thanks, Carly. Bye.